Hello, Sean here at the Brass Cellar and coming to you with an update to the Brass Cellar serious chats I had yesterday. Yesterday I made the video and I forgot about the autofocus function on the camera, so everything was zooming in and out, and that lovely case behind me there seemed to be the focus of most of the video, which is not the point. The point is to look at my face because I'm serious. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. I wanted to go through, I did a little bit more number crunching and I kind of defined a few more things with regards to what I was talking about. Now, numbers were skewed a little bit yesterday because I was looking at all Martin committees in the medium bore, and that included some of the RMC era stuff. So I went back and I've recrunched the numbers, and what I've done is I've taken out pretty much everything pre-serial number 200,000, which is around the 60 kind of break-off area. Nothing wrong with those instruments, but they, if you look at the numbers and the facts, they are not worth the same as the earlier models. Most people tend to target, when you're talking B-flat standard committees, will try and target the late 40s models into the early 50s. And that's just what it is, because there's some myth that they're better than the rest. Personal preference has a major bearing on that. Anyway, got lots of pieces of paper here. So I was talking about obviously the price analysis that I've done. If you haven't watched the previous video, you might want to go back and take a look at that. But I was talking about basically some values between 2012 2013, and maybe I caught some people off guard, but I track all Martin sales and trumpets, a little bit to do with cornets as well, committees especially, and I break it down by subcategory. So I've got committees, deluxe committees, handcraft committees. I look at handcrafts, I look at the different models, symphonies, dancents, handcraft imperials. Then I look at bore sizes, and then I break it down by conditions, etc., etc. So way more numbers than the average person would ever need. But that's just how I am. So, throwing those aside, crunching the new numbers. We're talking a pre, kind of like 1959 Martin Committee B flats medium bore, or number 2 bore, whichever you prefer. So, looking at the numbers here, the average in 2012-2013 was US $1,816 was the average, and that's a sample size of 71 instruments. So actually, not that many instruments changed hands on this particular website. But interestingly, we've got a pretty large range. Now the averages for an A grade, B grade, C grade, and D grade. I can go through that. And again, if you haven't checked out the last video, I was talking about this little document right here, which is the condition guide, which I've created and is available for free on the website. All you have to do is go to www.thebrasscellar.com, and there's a little section at the top that says Martin Database. If you go to there, and then you'll see all the different subjects that I've got listed there. You're looking for the Martin Band Instruments Condition Guide. And in that guide, you will see some nice color photos and some breakdowns of conditions of instruments, and basically explains my thought process behind each kind of condition. And this is the reference tool that I use for myself when I'm buying or selling an instrument. And it is a guide. It's not a definitive Bible or anything, but no one else has gone to the trouble of ever listing this stuff, so it'll be interesting to see what people think. I'd love to hear comments on it too. Now, when I look at A grade instruments from the 2012-2013, the average price was $2,127. And then there was an interesting range. The range of sales went anywhere from $1,500, so whoever bought that did really well, up to $3,100, and that $3,100 was for an example that was all original lacquer in the case, paperwork and all the accessories were in the box. I always say if you've got all those, like this little one right here, that's worth an additional premium. The B grade ones, $1,998 with a pretty large sample size. Interestingly, the most common grades that you're going to see are the B and C, which speaks to the point that they're actually being played, which is fantastic. And if they're in the B grade, they're obviously being well maintained, which is nice too. So $1,998. C grade, $1,454 was the and 69 cents. Again, that's a pretty sizable range. Those two ranges make up about 65% of the total sample. And then there was some D grade, basically parts horns. I found this really interesting. There was 3 of those, and the average price was $1,284 for a parts horn. Yeah. So by the time you parked in money on that, unless you're a brass technician and you're buying them and rebuilding them yourself, you're not making a lot of money in 2012, 2013 doing that. Now going into 2019, the total average. So far, interestingly, not that many horns have been bought and sold via this particular website for 2019. But the average price is $1,642, so it's about a 10% drop off. So again, to my point, it's a great time to look and pick up a nice used Martin Committee if you've ever been debating doing that. $1,600, you compare that to the price of a brand new instrument, you're going to save yourself $1,000, plus you're going to get a great jazz horn, so if you're into that kind of thing. If not, move along. Anyway, yeah, $1,642. Interestingly, you're seeing a drop-off on premium horns being available. The largest sample size, the most common condition that I am seeing for this year is in the C grade. And there has been a slight increase, I guess because basically people are valuing them more, but there's been a slight increase in the average sale price on that at $1,569. So we're seeing like basically the B and C grades kind of filter into each other, which is kind of skewing the numbers. But $1,642 is the average right now. As I say, not many instruments being sold. Now, I thought for today's video, I'm going to throw in a little bit of extra for you. So let's talk about these guys. I showed you that one yesterday, but that's my personal Martin Committee Deluxe. Yeah, interesting about this. I went back and looked at the Martin Committee Deluxe. So there wasn't that many available in 2012 to 2013. I think the total sample size here I've got is 16 horns that were bought or sold. Just before I talk about this, really interesting. When I look at the 2012-2013 numbers, and this is the reason I track serial numbers, is I can see that there were 6 out of the 71 instruments that were bought or sold more than once. And it's interesting to see the markup on those too. So just a little tidbit. So going back to Martin Committee Deluxe, there was one that was in what I would deem to be A grade. That sold for $2,697. B grade and C grade, again, being the more common. Actually, B grade, the average price in 2012-2013 was $2,049 for a B grade Martin Committee Deluxe medium bore instrument, B flat. And the prices ranged wildly from $1,280 all the way up to $3,000. Very interestingly, there is a certain seller that is doing very well in that category, and I'll leave it at that. C grade instruments, $1,400. So interestingly, when you get to the C grade instruments, they're worth, in the minds of some people, less than the original versions. So they're selling around $1,400, $1,405, and their range of sales and the sample size, again, we're talking small sample sizes, but from 1375 up to 1650 was the range. And then in the D grade, I think this one was particularly bad based on my notes, sold for $450. Now, if you look at 2019, interestingly, so when I looked at 2019 for the regular trumpets, there was about 10 sold. And when I look at the deluxe for the same time period, there was actually 7 sold. So there's a lot more Martin Committee Deluxe B-flat trumpets on the market right now for some reason. So there's nothing in the A category so far. B category, you've had some slight increase, like very minimal, but $2,070, and the range is a bit more steady at $1,600 to $2,600. And then the C has gone up slightly to $1,543 is the average, and the range is between $1,400 and $1,824. So just a little bit of interesting tidbit. Now, the one that probably most people want to know about and might find interesting is the Martin Handcraft Committee. So that's the pre-committees. So kind of like the 1939 to 43, I think was the last one. So that very small period. In 2012 to 2013, there was 17 that were bought and sold. And the average price for those was $1,927. Yeah, who wouldn't like to buy some of those right now? So there was one in A grade that sold, there was 3 in the A grade category that sold for $3,000 on average. B category, 1987 was the average on that. C grade, $1,500, and there was one in the D grade, which, yeah, not going to mention too much, but $1,927. Now, if you look, if you look at 2019 and you go to a retail seller, or you look at some of the forums, etc., and you see what people are asking for handcraft committees right now, they have shot up immensely in the last few years. So on this particular website, there's been 3 bought or sold, all in the B condition. So the average right now at 2019 is $2,349, and that's an 18.2% increase on the 2012-2013. So if you've bought your Handcraft Committee B-flat trumpet, that has gone up in value. Now, if you look at examples, like I say, available in retail stores, etc., you're talking now, $3,000 plus. I've seen some selling at $5,000, and who knows? Like that particular instrument is going through a period of. They were popular, even more popular back in 2012 and 13. But interestingly, people are starting to understand that these instruments are quite scarce to find now, and they've really gone through a period of growth. So if you haven't picked up a B-flat Handcraft Committee yet, you might have missed the boat on this. But they're still, according to my numbers, anything around the 2,500 to 3,200 range is still actually not a bad buy, and you might want to consider that if you're going to hold it long term. So there you have it. I hope you find that interesting. I apologize for the in and out of focus video yesterday. Hopefully that's all fixed. If you have any questions, comments, drop a comment. Send me a comment via Facebook, etc. I'm pretty easy to get hold of. Let me know if you like these videos. Obviously, I say I've tracked not just the B-flat committees, but also other models, etc. So I can do more videos like this if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Let me know what you think. So until next time, signing off.